Mangalam Bhagavan Veero Mangalam Gautama Prabhu
Om Namo Arihantanam Namo Siddhanam Namo Ayariyanam Namo Vachayanam Namo Loe Savasahunam.
Jai Jinendra and welcome to Mangalam. Today we bring to you the third lecture in the lecture series by Anop Vora. These are about the toxic emotions and how to control them. Today he will be talking to you about controlling the greed, deceit, ego and how the scriptures can help. I am sure you will be benefited.
Jai Jinendra and good morning and welcome back. In the first session, I talked to you about the importance of controlling the emotions of anger, ego, deceit and greed. In the second session, I focused mainly on anger and discussed many ways to control it. In today's session, I'm going to talk about the remaining three emotions, namely arrogance, ego, deceit, and greed. If you thought that the anger control was difficult, I have a surprise for you. The remaining three emotions are even more difficult to control. Fortunately, our scriptures have given us a detailed prescription to get rid of them all. All we have to do is use their prescription regularly every single day. So let me start first with arrogance or ego, both of which have a similar meaning. First, let me define the arrogance. It's defined as an attitude of superiority manifested in an overbearing manner or in conceited claims. To understand arrogance, we need to compare it with anger to show how closely it's connected to each other, and then discuss the attributes of the people who have been infected with this vice. First, anger and arrogance are close cousins. I have not found too many people who had one vice and not the other. Arrogance is probably a more destructive human emotion than anger, because the anger at least needs a catalyst, while arrogance does not. We can hide the anger cleverly, but arrogance is clearly visible to all around us. Anger in many cases is transient in nature, and it may subside in due course of time, but arrogance is an enduring phenomenon that goes on and on and on for most people. What are the attributes of the arrogant people? Well, they are usually blind and stubborn, live in a dream world, cannot see what others see. Usually they walk around with a large ego. They surround themselves with like-minded, selfish friends and tend to see the arrogance in others, but not in themselves. They're out to prove to the world how smart and superior they are compared to the others, and they believe that they're always right. The other important aspect we're talking about arrogance is that people usually talk about it at the individual level. But how about the corporations? How about the countries of the world? Yes, the corporations, big and small, and even the nations could be arrogant, especially if they are led by egoistic leaders. The other point is, when you mix with anger with a mixed anger with ego. It's an explosive mixture. Perhaps most of you know the stories of Duryodhan, the evil character in Mahabharata, and Hitler and Nixon. They all used this mixture and eventually not only hurt themselves, but many others around them. If we study the history of mankind, we'll find that it's replete with stories of people who fell from grace or were destroyed or ruined by arrogance. Let me share with you a short story from Greek mythology. It is about Icarus, the main character of the story, who arrogantly believed that he could fly with artificial wings. However, his arrogance led to his literal downfall as he flew so close to the sun that the wax with which his wings were secured melted. In Western philosophy and literature, this story of Icarus is considered to be the classic example of arrogance. Jain sages have identified this vice dating all the way back to the Lord Adinath's era and have suggested the use of humility, politeness in day-to-day interactions, and advised us to deploy a spirit of reconciliation while resolving the disputes. It's our common experience that humility is a great virtue because it generates respect, cooperation, and positive vibrations while dealing with our fellow human beings. It is indeed very powerful when you compare it with arrogance. Mahatma Gandhi proved this point way beyond any shadow of doubt, as his humility proved very strong enough to uproot the mighty British Empire. Spiritually speaking, arrogance can block our progress in a significant way. Remember the story of Lord Bahubali, whose ego was blocking him from getting liberation. The moment his sisters reminded him about his vice, he quickly realized his mistake, changed his ways, and became enlightened in a very short time. Now, let's talk about the next vice, the vice of deception. Deception is the practice of deceiving someone by concealing or telling a distorted truth. The human mind has supernatural ability to craft devious means and cheat others to satisfy one's low-level desires to procure more money, more power, more prestige, and many other worldly objects. It is so sad that many more people are shocked by honesty these days and very few by deception. I know the times may have changed, but the history of mankind contains many stories showing that deception just doesn't work in the long run. Eventually, the dishonest person gets caught and suffers from social, monetary, and mental consequences. Deception in general ends up in an ugly manner. It's just a matter of time. You must have all heard about the huge Madoff scandal that came to light some time back. It's an excellent example of how greed and deception can push a person way, way down. Madoff became a victim of the vices we are talking about, and he caused pain and suffering not only to himself, but also to thousands and thousands of investors who trusted him. It appears that we humans are capable of immense love and compassion, but just as capable of deceit and atrocity. Our scriptures are pleading us to stay away from deception and to lean towards the love and compassion, which is indeed our true nature. The antidotes for deception are leading a simple life and maintaining a straightforward disposition. Simple life obviously entails harboring limited desires, which means no need to use dishonest means in the first place. A straightforward person will act without a hidden agenda, have a much lighter karmic burden, and will live a more peaceful and serene life. So now at this point, let's discuss the last toxic emotion called greed. Greed is a product of unwanted desires to possess wealth, goods, and objects of abstract value far, far beyond the dictates of basic survival and comfort. It is the most powerful and dangerous of all emotions and is the most difficult to control. It provides fuel for the fires of the other three emotions, namely anger, arrogance, and deception, and is therefore considered the mother of all sins. For spiritually inclined, let me add that greed is the most difficult of all kashayas, all toxic emotions, to conquer, and stays with us till we reach the 12th gunasthana called Kshenamoha. This tells a lot about how powerful this monster is. So how does it play out in real life? Well, let's look at the next slide. The way it works is greed creates desires. Excessive desires make people blind and push them to lose their sense of discretion. To satisfy them, people often become dishonest, immoral, and unethical. They want to grab from all corners, no matter what happens to them and to the people around. If their desires are fulfilled, they think they are very smart. This inflates their ego, and they want to get more and more and more. Since this is not sustainable in most cases, at some point they are going to fall badly and get angry and depressed. So if you look at the entire process, it's very easy to see why the greed is labeled as the primary cause of other toxic emotions. Now let me share with you a couple of quotes on greed from great men of history. This quote is from Gandhiji. It's very insightful. What he's saying indirectly is that greed begets human desires, and greater the number of desires, higher the mental turmoil, stress, tension, and dissatisfaction. There is just no end to the craze and madness. The second quote echoes a similar message from a well-respected American philosopher. Our life indeed would be very peaceful, very, very peaceful if we can distinguish between want and need and behave in a balanced manner. It was Rakesh Zaveri who observed recently that Lord Buddha left his palace in search of peace, but we Buddhas, or fools, are searching for a palace at the cost of our own physical and emotional health. We all know that the Almighty has given us infinite wisdom, but we do not realize that God has also not placed a limit on our stupidity either. Unfortunately, many of us fail to see the simple truth and wind up ruining our lives. So what can we do about the greed? Well, next slide has the answer. The simple cure prescribed in our religion is contentment, meaning limiting our desires to a more reasonable level and maintaining a balance between greed and need. What does that mean? Well, this means next time our spouse or child wants to buy something, it may be a good idea to ask if it's a need or a want. Even if we do not succeed in changing the final outcome, and most likely will not be able to, at least this question will make them think, and that could trigger a positive change at some point in the future. Jainism is not against being rich per se. It says wealth itself is not detrimental if we are not attached to it. If we view it as a temporary karmic phenomenon, and more importantly, if we use it prudently, for the benefit of the community. So let me summarize where we are at this point. I have discussed all 4 toxic emotions and suggested the necessity of developing forgiveness, humility, honesty, and contentment to control them. So the next question I would like to address is, how do we develop these very important divine virtues? Well, I'll answer this question, a very important question, and highlight the key points in the final session. I should add that the final session is going to be very powerful, so please don't miss it. See you then. Jai Janendra.
Now we take a short break. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mangalam. Now we'll present to you in another Indian raga a beautiful stavan by Kumar Chatterji. After that, you will hear the global Jain news and then a performance by young Jains.
है जी चंदा जी, सुनो चंदा जी, हो चंदा जी, सुनो चंदा जी, सुनो चंदा जी रे, दिम तनक दिम तनक दिम तनक दिम। सुनो चंदा जी तम श्रीमंत परमात्म, ओ तम श्रीमंत परमात्म, पास जा चोरे मुझ दी नकड़ी रे, मुझ भी नकड़ी रे, मुझ भी नकड़ी रे, प्रेम भरी दर्शन जे हने शायक छे जी 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 जी। सुन चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी, ओ चंदा जी चंदा जी जी। नयन कंचन वरणी काया छे जस घोड़ी लांछन पाया छे पुंडरीक नगरी नो राया छे सुन चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी पदनी सनि दमनि दम मगर गर भाभी जननी जी पर बोले छे तुम अधिक शीतल गुण सोने छे भाभी जननी जी पर बोले छे तुम अधिक शीतल गुण सोने छे रूप देखी भाभी जन मोहे छे जी 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 ओ चंदा जी चंदा जी तुम सेवा करवा रसियो तुम सेवा करवा रसियो छु पण भरत मा दूरे बसियो छु तुम सेवा करवा रसियो छु पण भरत मा दूरे बसियो छु दिन तनक दिन तनक दिन तनक दिन तुम सेवा करवा रसियो छु पण भरत मा दूरे बसियो छु तुम सेवा करवा रसियो छु पण भरत मा दूरे बसियो छु महामोह राय कर फसियो छु जी
Dear Jainendra, I welcome you to this episode of Global Jain News. I'm Rishay Mehta. In Ahmedabad, after a year of planning, researching, and conceptualizing, the Jain Heritage Walk was performed by the Jain International Trade Organization. A book announcing the walk and a brochure mentioning the significance of each of the stops was also released. The inaugural walk started November 19th on Gyan Panchami, an auspicious day on the Jain calendar. The government of Punjab has recently announced through a public notification that anyone found killing a cow in Punjab will be liable to imprisonment for a period of 10 years. The Jain community thanks Punjab government for this bold decision. Utkal University of Culture had decided to start a 6-month certificate course in Jainism. Orissa possesses a unique distinction of having been an important center of Jainism during the early historic period, and is found to have been used up till the 12th century. It is shown by the first inscription in the world about 2,300 years ago. The country's name, Bharatvarsh, was given only after the word Bharat was used in that inscription. This is Risha Mehta signing off. Jai Janandar.
मङ्गलाणं च सौवेसिम्
नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे आ जाओ प्रभु द्वारे नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
बोलो नमो अरिहन्ताणं बोलो ओम नमो सिद्धाणं
बोलो नमो अरिहन्ताणं बोलो ओम नमो सिद्धाणं
बोलो नमो आयर्याणं बोलो नमो उवच्छायाणं
बोलो नमो आयर्याणं बोलो नमो वज्रायाणं
नमो लोए सवसाहुणं नमो लोए सवसाहुणं नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
ऐसो पंचण मोकारो सव पावपणासणो
ऐसो पंचण मोकारो सव पावपणासणो
मंगलाणं च संवेसिन् पढमं हवै मंगलम्
मङ्गलाणं च संवेसिं परमं हवै मङ्गलम्
यही मंगलकारी है यही सुखकारी है नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे आ जाओ प्रभु द्वारे नवकार जपो सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे
मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे मिट जाएंगे दुख सारे मङ्गलाणं च संवेसिं
Jai Jinendra and welcome to viewers feedback. We have received this email from Mrs. Sharmila Mehta from Maryland. She writes, Dear Mamta-ben, I watch your program on a regular basis. Your and other team members' efforts are remarkable. I have a suggestion to make that if one short quote of Bhagwan Mahavir is displayed on the screen at the end of the episode would be great. With the help of media and the efforts by people like you all, more people would get Bhagwan Mahavir's message. Thank you, Mrs. Mehta, for your email and suggestion. It surely sounds like a good idea. We will try to work towards it. We are always looking forward for our viewers' suggestions. Please keep writing to us at our email address mangalamshow@gmail.com. See you all soon with more emails. This is Dipti Mehta. Jai Jinendra.
I hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll keep bringing your emails on the show, so please keep sending them. We'll bring another program for you next week. Until then, Jai Jinendra. I hope you liked today's program. We value your opinion and comments, so please write to us at mangalamshow@gmail.com. The success of Mangalam Show is not without your contributions and cooperations. We would like to see your contributions coming. Please visit our website for further information. Your contributions are tax deductible.